Congress Party's manifesto has been in the news for a variety of reasons. The Congress claims its economic guarantees will bring millions out of poverty. Of course, to do this, the guarantees have to be implementable and financially viable. Is this truly the case, or will the guarantees cost the earth? A deep dive by the Hard Facts team suggests that funds will be needed by the bucketfuls to implement the promises made by the Congress in its electoral mission statement. And let me just run you through some of the hard facts, viewers. We've done a bit of a cost analysis here. Mahalakshmi scheme, the proposal is to give 1 lakh per year to every poor Indian family led by the eldest female woman. The cost will be 6 lakh crores per year if you set the poverty line at about 20%. If you think that the bottom 20% of India's population, which is the real indigent one, should get this, it will be 6 lakh crores, more than the national expenditure on PDS and farm subsidies. Let's look at the next scheme. There is an MSP law guarantee. This proposal means a minimum support price law as per the Swaminathan Commission. This would cost 10 lakh crores per year. Now, the total value of agricultural produce in FY20 was 40 lakh crore. The cost more than the annual average infra spend in the last 7 fiscal years, viewers. All that we spent in 7 years on infrastructure, that will not be enough as the MSP law guarantee, the cost of that. Doubling Manrega wages, raising wages to 400 per day for a minimum of 100 days, 1.8 lakh crore per year, nearly double the annual health spend for 2025 and 1% of GDP. Let's take another very interesting scheme which is touted as perhaps the world's first, the Right to Apprenticeship Act. 1 year apprenticeship that would pay 1 lakh to graduates and diploma holders. The cost would be 1 lakh crore per year, 1/6 of the total defense outlay of 6 lakh crore for FY25. Viewers, this is big money. And there are several other schemes that have been woven into this manifesto. We've just picked the top 4, which would obviously be extremely costly. There's also this talk of waiving student loans, which will again cost 1 lakh crores. Is this, sounds very good. It's a great step towards Karan Bhasin, a sort of liberal, social justice sort of bent. But while we welcome all of that, there is welfare in this country. There are schemes that reach out to various disadvantaged people. These look a little, of the type that could break the bank. Would you agree? Or am I over-analyzing this?
No, you're absolutely spot on. India's budget last year was about 40 lakh crore.
40
you add
lakhs,
these
43.
up, it's about half of that. Yeah. So naturally, that raises a lot of questions about whether they are fiscally prudent or not. But leave that aside, they're not fiscally prudent. So we all know that, and I don't think anyone will disagree on that. If anyone disagrees on that, probably they need to revisit Arithmetic 101. But the key question is, if you genuinely believe that these are good policies, why don't you start from a state like Karnataka? You try implementing there and then see how it works. And we already know that some of the promises that were made in the manifesto before the Karnataka elections were rolled out, and it nearly created less of, funds available for infrastructure spending. So the question really is that while welfare is important, do you really believe that it can be a substitute for growth? Do you want to keep redistributing only the small pie that you have, or do you actually want to expand the pie and, take the country forward? That's the choice that we face. And, many are complicit in not outlining it and calling it out as it is.
Okay. Santosh Mehrotra, aside from the practical difficulty of funding these schemes without resorting to levying stiff cesses and taxes, which will trigger inflation, and restrictive monetary policies, which will also have an impact on growth, such schemes absolve any prospective Congress government of any moral obligation towards creating meaningful jobs, which is the way that you lift people out of poverty. Is the populist Congress looking for the shortest route to power by skipping the stairs and taking the elevator instead?
I think every statement that so far has been made in this program is laughable. Firstly,
really?
Absolutely. Every single statement. If you'll give me a time, the time, sir.
Please.
Because I've read your piece, sir, and I will take it apart in a second.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Absolutely. Every piece, every argument in that is going to be taken apart.
Okay.
The bottom line is the following. That the Darbari channels have decided to take it upon themselves in channel after channel to take the manifesto apart, which is one of the best manifestos, and it's far superior to the BJP manifesto, best manifesto that
get to
Congress
the point.
has ever produced.
Don't be rhetorical. Get to the point. Don't use words like Darbari, etc. That could be used against you. It's extremely unbecoming of an intelligent man like you to use idiotic epithets. I'm sorry to say this.
I'm
Rise
sorry
above
to
it.
say,
Now let's get Mr. Mehrotra.
Mr. Mehrotra,
get to
everyone in the world knows and uses this.
Get to the facts.
1 lakh crore
hang on.
per
Will it
poor.
cost? Will the Mahalakshmi scheme not cost 6 lakh crore per year? Tell me. What is the baseline? Poverty baseline.
You cannot in one breath say poverty is falling dramatically over the last 10 years.
Well, the Congress says it hasn't. So it will obviously go to a larger skew of the public.
No. Just
no. What do you mean no?
Listen, if you will kindly listen. If you don't interrupt me, you'll be able to hear because I'll be able to speak. I've seen this happen in other channels on these same issues, so I'll be grateful. I really do
just
consider
give us the
your
maths.
channel. I'm giving you the math if you will care to listen. So first of all, it's not 20%. You will identify the poor in a new socio-economic and caste census. You will, yes, absolutely, because it has to be done. This government is using the socio-economic caste census that was done 10 years ago. Actually, I designed that caste census.
How much will that cost? How much will that cost? How often will you do them?
No, Rahul,
it's been done every.
Tell me.
Excuse me, I didn't interrupt. I didn't interrupt Mr. Bhasin, so I will appreciate if he will show me the kindness. Right. So, yes, you have to do it every 10 years. The Ministry of Rural Development has done it for the last 30 years, every 10 years, and you will have to do it, period.
Sorry, Mr. Mehrotra, many people say it has to be quite often repeated. In fact, the Congress leaders themselves say every 2 years.
No, rubbish.
I can show you the statement by the Congress economic cell head. Every 2 years.
I was in the Planning Commission heading that division which actually wrote the design for it. Listen, all you need to do is do every 2 years a ground truthing. That's all you need to do.
How much will it cost, sir?
Excuse me, let me answer your question. You made a series of points. You're not allowing me to answer your question. You didn't interrupt Mr. Bhasin. You keep interrupting me.
That's why I think I'm asking you to set the poverty baseline. Give me a number.
Yes, I'm giving you a number if you will care to listen.
Okay.
It will not exceed 10% of the population.
Why? Has poverty fallen then? Has Modi government done a great job?
Obviously, it has fallen. Obviously,
then what is the hullabaloo about? The more you invest in your economy, it will fall even further.
No, please, he cannot. He cannot intervene because you have made 4 points and I have to answer each one of yours. Okay. Jesus Christ. You have to interrupt me, but you cannot interrupt Mr. Bhasin. Apprenticeship. You know what the joblessness rate is? 44% for 20 to 24-year-olds. And the apprenticeship is shared between the employer and the government. The government pays only 25% of the cost of the stipend. So if it's 8,000 rupees per month.
Where is it written?
Arey Baba, it's in the Apprenticeship Act. It's a government scheme.
Where is it written?
It's not supposed to be written. You tell me what is written in the
manifesto should not mention all this.
Excuse me.
Why isn't it mentioning this?
Arey yaar, for God's sake, you don't know the facts. I've been in government for 10 years. I've run these
the manifesto doesn't tell you the poverty line.
Rubbish. Okay,
Santosh Mehrotra says it's 10%. He says poverty is fallen. Without taking recourse to any of these measures, the poverty levels are falling. So why should we go for such a drastic... No, hang on. Unconditional transfer of wealth. And who's going to fund it, viewers?
I'll tell you who's going to fund it. growth will fund it. Just remember that this government has brought growth down by 1.5 percentage points on the basis of this own government's estimates. Please remember, the growth rate was 7.7% over a 10-year period. In this government, it's actually 5.8%. And it's a bit rich for you as defender of the Modi government to tell me that a government which came with a debt of 55 lakh crores has gone to 200 lakh crores in a matter of 10 years, a debt to GDP ratio from 58% to 82%. And so let's just get a hold of things. Finally, MSP. You have no understanding of how the MSP legal guarantee is supposed to work, which is the reason why all of you in the same channels are spreading the rumor about 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 30 lakh, and so on. You know what it is supposed to be? The market is supposed to buy, and that's what happens. For 23 products, an MSP is fixed, and it's only when the price drops below that MSP
the government
needs to intervene. Excuse me.
The difference.
Excuse me,
First of all, he says 23 products. Mr. Mehrotra, why should there only be 23 products? What about subsistence farmers who are growing vegetables? Aren't they entitled to one?
Let's start with what is doable. Let's start with what's doable.
I'm sorry. The manifesto doesn't tell you what is doable. It doesn't go into the details that Santosh Mehrotra is going into. It leaves everything.
Because I've been part of the team.
I don't care, sir. The manifesto doesn't... No, hang on. Then why hasn't the manifesto been specific? Was the whole idea, Mr. Mehrotra, was the whole idea to make the manifesto as nebulous so that you could go about injecting any old thing day after if you were to come to power?
It can get that you can level any kinds of charges, 10 lakh crores. When I'm saying it's going to cost no more than 20,000 crores
Why should I take you? Why should I take you at face value?
Excuse me.
Nothing is mentioned.
In any case, I noticed that you love interrupting me and would never interrupt Mr. Basu. Never. And when the government buys a product, when the rice and wheat is bought, what do you think the government does with it? It sells it. It doesn't store it and take it with it. It sells it.
What happens when the market is saturated, Mr. Mehrotra? You're buying all of that. You are mandated to buy.
You're not buying all of it. You're not buying all of it.
Says who?
You're buying only when the price drops.
My dear Mr. Mehrotra, do you know that the bill on MSP has been going higher and higher and higher every year, and you want more and more and more payout?
Why are you, on what basis are you assuming that?
Isn't the MSP payout going up every year?
No, you are essentially...
No, Mr. Mehrotra, answer the question. Is it going up or not going up?
You are worried about the fact that millions of young people have downloaded the manifesto.
Okay.
Ever since the Prime Minister told
the rhetoric here. Mr. Mehrotra, let's have another conversation. You please come more prepared. Every year, the MSP payout is going higher and higher. The government is spending more and more. And now we want a law that mandates the payout, viewers, without telling you, number one, most importantly, viewers, and this is fundamental, what is going to be the formula for the payout? There's a Swaminathan Commission who's come up with C2 plus 50%, which many people say is exorbitant. No one is specifying this in the Congress manifesto. The question is why? Don't we have a right to know? Anyhow, viewers, I'll leave it at this. I've run out of time. Lots more coming up in just a few moments on The Right Stand with Anand Narsingh.